there's a lot of sensationalism related to people talking about ChatGPT and the fact that it can write an entire application. Now, when I hear that as a relative skeptic, I kind of think that there may be a lot that people aren't letting on in terms of the fact that this code is AI generated and it doesn't really seem like you can do much with a simple file that the ChatGPT algorithm is able to spit out. In what way does ChatGPT actually provide any value to someone in a technical field?
That's a great prompt into the topic. Yeah, you're right about there's a lot of sensationalism, and you really have to go through wade through that to see, depending on your role within an organization, how can this be a useful tool in my tool set, right? And I think one of the best ways it can be used is to speed up your development and to increase your production. You can, I think anyone, especially when we're talking about Power BI as an example, we're developing reports in Power BI. You every report might have something new in it that you've never seen before, and but you might know how to start, and this is where the tool really comes in handy. You can feed it a situation, maybe you even know a DAX function that you want to use, and you're trying to, isolate certain data. You're trying to filter data. You're trying to sum up data in an unusual way, and just feed that information, and then ChatGPT can generate the code for you. And if it's not correct, it's going to get you likely going to get you started in the right direction.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, like one thing I really struggle with, and I mean, we experience it all the time when we're working together on reports, is we all have our own way of working with DAX. As an example, one thing that I know you've always done is use cross filter function, whereas I like to use the use relationship or kind of figure out a way to leverage lookup in a way that kind of mimics that exact same behavior. Do you think that ChatGPT would be able to at least contextualize how to use the exact, like, the types of methodologies that you use in terms of asking it something like how to even use cross filter or treat as an example?
Yeah, I think so. It's not just for writing code, right? You can feed it general prompts, even so much as like explain the difference between two DAX functions for me, where you may be a little confused, or maybe you can get spell out a scenario for it and say what's the appropriate DAX function to use in this for this data model.
Pretty cool. I mean, what is it even like working with ChatGPT though? I've seen a lot of people on TikTok, especially, using it in a way that they basically only show me the result, but what I'm really interested in is everything they're not showing at the top of the screen. It looks like there's a pretty long scroll bar that I'm is kind of showing that there's a little bit of conversation happening before they're actually showing me the result that makes it seem like a much more powerful tool. Is there like a skill involved with being able to write prompts just the way there is with Google Foo, as we call it?
Yeah, absolutely. There will be trial and error, right? There's going to be times also that you might try to use the same prompt or what you think was the same prompt that helped you before, and suddenly you might get something completely different back. And that is definitely with the limitations with it, and you have to kind of learn to work with it. And something that might work for one language might not work as well for another language in terms of programming languages. So that's something else you have to kind of keep in mind when you're using it as a tool to help you develop.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense, especially when it comes to a relatively new um, beta application that relies on artificial intelligence. I mean, it's evaluating just like the way I ask my Google Home to turn off my lights, and sometimes even if I use the same phrase, it'll say it doesn't understand me because it's processing each and every request separate from the last time you did it.